Hey, welcome to Everything Money. It's Seth. Mo's here. Creepy.
You smell really good.
Thank you. Creepy next to me. We wanted to show, this is kind of a reaction video. Paul, I told you earlier today that the yahoos out there that are pumping hype overpriced stocks, they're now claiming that people like yourself, using disciplined math to look at some of the overpriced companies out there, you are providing the FUD, the fear, the uncertainty and doubt. And how dare you squelch Ape Nation and all these people that think they're just gonna beat everything and value investing is dead. You're the one that is holding us back. You should be to blame for the FUD, and we can't listen to you, Paul, because these are all going to the moon. And so I want to show you an example here on my screen. The boys are going to listen to this now about some FUD.
Yeah, but in fairness, they're going to talk about what everybody's going to perceive as a very obscure time in history, a very random event in history. What you don't remember, though, is there are many crashes happen a lot more frequently than people want to remember. You know, and they happen more frequently than people ever expect them to.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever things get very frothy and very expensive like they are now, it's all the more likely there'll be a crash. We are at all-time high levels of valuations on almost every reliable metric over history, and you know, everybody blames real estate for this crash, and there was overvaluation back then too. So let's go see.
And you said obscure time in history. Here we are, obscure time in history.
Yes, correct.
So.
Here you go, folks. Take a look at this.
Google about 3%, but Dell, Intel, Research, and Microsoft are all to the upside. Look how strong.
Did not disappoint. 400 points higher. Yes, indeed. The market's 4 higher. Last 30 minutes of trading as volatility once again rules the day.
Most of the techs this morning, if not all of them, have just exploded to the.
Uh-oh, that sounds a lot like today, Paul.
That was September 29th? Or this is September 29th?
Down 1.7% here, a loss of 37 points or so. Apple shares are just getting hammered this morning.
We're down by between 3 and 4.5% generally across these markets. Let's talk about the speed with which we are watching this market deteriorate. We're red everywhere, essentially, down by 4-5%.
We're down over 16%. Dow at the same time.
Oh, Erin, my girl.
18%. The stock market is now down 21%.
Because we're now down 43%.
What in the world is happening on Wall Street?
2-year no yields went from 190 to 166 in the blink of an eye.
On the NASDAQ, everything and more has been completely wiped out.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
From the financial capital of the world, the opening bell is going to ring in 5 seconds, and to be honest with you, we wish it wouldn't.
A lot of their customers
Keep going, Paul.
are freaked out, waiting to see how low the Dow will go. They're focused on the Dow, not so focused on OPEC. Yes, OPEC did.
Look at NASDAQ.
Wow.
You know what amazes me about this?
Go on.
People just think that the market just goes up and just keeps going up forever. Like, that truly amazes me.
Well,
I don't know
guess-
why it's hitting me right now, and I don't know why it just hit me right now.
Well, one, you didn't live through any major. Yeah, last year was a crash, but it was so quick. You haven't lived through like a long crash. When I say live through, like you didn't experience it.
But I'm saying I'm expecting something. There's
I
people
know,
that
because
don't
you're hanging around
expect
me. Well, that's exactly what makes it more likely to happen. Is that nobody expects it or nobody's thinking. But there are more people. The value-oriented guys are the ones who are talking about crashes. You know what I mean? And
But in what world of anything do things just go up forever?
well, that's the thing. When you live in euphoria and you live in an emotional time, on the positive, when things are bad, you never think that's going to end. When things are good, you never think it's going to end. Mm-hmm. That's the goal of value investing, is that you know that both extremes are ridiculous. You have to make decisions based on those.
Mm-hmm.
Really, you're seeing just broad-based declines across all of the major technology sectors. Apple's under pressure. Yahoo down 8.5%. Cisco 6.5%. Research in Motion 10%.
And we're not getting the bid wanted. We're not getting the stop trading, and we see where the buyers are. We're just, every day they're pounding it.
The heightened financial turmoil that we have experienced of late may well lengthen the period of weak economic performance and further increase the risk to growth.
Can't look at it after you buy it. It's so horrible.
But we've had an 8-day losing streak in the Dow that in percentage terms puts it on par, close to the loss suffered in that crash in 1987. close to that percentage loss those 2 days in 1929.
What started in America last year has now spread to every part of the world.
Oh,
We're down
no,
9% today. The Zetro DAX.
Paul, Kramer was just talking about freezing. Did they freeze trading like they do nowadays?
I don't remember. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't know when they put those rules in place.
Because we
No, they had. I think those had those rules. I just don't remember. Oh no, they put the rules in after. I think
it was
some
after.
things. I don't remember the exact timeline on when those rules were put in.
Because these Robinhood folks, when they're trading these crazy stocks and they freeze them up, and
Oh, they get mad.
they get mad.
Yeah, they do.
Obviously, I mean,
They get mad.
In Frankfurt is down by 9%. The Paris market down by 9%. Austria, which was briefly suspended earlier on in the day, is down by nearly
Austria!
11%.
I love seeing all the companies on the bottom that don't exist. I mean,
That's what I like too.
Yeah,
I like
just
on the
seeing
big board.
Yeah, like all these companies that you thought were the big bangers. And
I love how
then-
they say Yahoo. When they said Yahoo, I'm like, who the hell is talking about Yahoo?
as you'll ever see.
Traders saying this is the craziest day they have ever seen in these markets. Veteran traders saying they've never seen anything like it. The movement in oil prices.
And then
so
COVID
fast,
said,
so
hold my beer.
Yep.
The start of trading at the New York Stock Exchange, and stocks are set to kick off lower, a whole lot lower.
eBay is down 6.5%. And really, you're seeing just broad-based declines across all of the major
$14 for
technology
eBay.
sectors. Apple's under pressure. Yahoo down 8.5%. Cisco 6.5%. Research in Motion 10%.
This could be the most serious recession in decades. And that means life, as most Americans know it, is about to change, in some cases dramatically.
Pause.
Okay, Paul.
So think about it this way. Every major issue that happens, they say life is about ready to change, right? Mm-hmm. And then guess what happens? Over time, life gets back to normal. That's why when people tell me, oh, we're done going to the office last year, you're already seeing people saying, okay, well, we're going to go back to the office, but it's not going to be like before. No, it'll end up being like before. It'll end up being exactly the same as before because people take one event and extrapolate it out across the future, and it doesn't make sense. Right? It's just, we're really going to stop going to the office? Maybe. Maybe we will. I don't think
but
so.
Not on a grand scale.
What was that?
Not on a grand scale.
I actually think we're going to go back to normal here in the next.
Actually,
soon.
There's an article that came out today about JP Morgan. They're going in and they're just buying office spaces now.
I think it'll be a lot different world than what we feared a year. And that's the whole point of value investing. Take everybody's fear and extreme comments and say, okay, what is really likely?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's the bad thing about hype, because if everybody thinks positively, nobody sees the negative, that's when you have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The masses see the negative, they've already priced in that negativity, because the masses have already said, I don't want that because of the negative. The masses think positive, what's the upside? Everybody already thinks it's going to be awesome. You can't bid that up as much anymore.
A lot of our patrons were really huge fans of the idea when you said that when we watched a Meet Kevin video and you said, this is why we need a crash.
Yeah, we need to wipe out a lot of the adults out there. He thought, when I sent that video to Gary literally said to me, you owe me 13 minutes of my life back.
This is Gary Mashuris.
Gary Mashuris, he said, my favorite part was when he said a conservative 70 PE, or whatever he said. He's like, well, they're at 150, whatever, 600 PE, we're going to assume 70. 70 PE is a nosebleed PE. He wants the largest, even Apple and Microsoft don't have 70 PEs right now. So I look at these things thinking, that was a great time because stocks were falling and falling and falling. And you see that. You saw eBay at $14. We're buying eBay now. We think it's a value play at anything below 45 or whatever it's at. Yeah. I mean, stocks will rebound. And when these things happen, just like when times are good, they don't last forever. When times are bad, that's not going to last forever. This is an amazing part. And this is why, this is really good stuff. Whose idea was this?
This was Tim.
Oh, look at you, Tim. Tim's
Yeah, eBay's at 70 right now. But so Paul, I guess
do the max real quick on eBay.
eBay's at 70 right now?
There's where eBay was. Go later, but it was at 14. Unbelievable.
Look at that, 14.
And guess what? It rebounded. Why? Because the internet's still growing. It's still a good company. Yada yada yada. Just the way it works, guys.
So, in your grand wisdom, are we spreading FUD, fear, uncertainty, and doubt, or what is our goal here on this channel?
I do try to balance myself in negativity versus not being negative. I don't like it when negative people say I'm just being realistic. I'm being mathematical. When you give me a stock that I think is worth 20 and it's selling at 50 and I say it's not worth it, is that being negative? No, it's just not worth it.
Yeah, you're a hater, Paul.
If it's selling at 10 and then I go, well, no, it should actually be selling at 5 and it's like, no, well then I'm sitting there saying, then I'm being negative. But I sit there and go, yeah, I'm buying it all day. That's what I say about Intel. I like Intel. Right? The one I always talk about is Intel because it's so popular. It has great lessons in history and things like that. It's not the only company I like. But I look at Intel going, if I was a negative person, I'd be like, oh, Intel's going to go to the zero. This thing sucks. But I'm sitting there saying, no, I'm buying Intel. I like Intel. Okay. What's the difference? Well, the difference is my outlook in the future. Negative people don't see a future that's good in any situation. I see a future that's good. Do I think the U.S. 50 years from now will be better than it is today? Absolutely. Do I think the stock market 50 years from now will be better, higher than today? Absolutely. Do I think the stock market 5 to 10 years from now will be higher than today? No. Why? Because numbers show me that. That's just it. I look at history, and over time, America becomes better and better. Stocks go higher and higher over long periods of time. But it also depends on where you start from on the value scale.
I try to take everything in you say, Paul. In fact, I pulled up Palantir on our free cash because this is one that just is so overly talked about. And you talk about, we did a reaction video, and you sort of shut the video down when you said someone who believes in this, doesn't really look at the math, believes in this. And sure enough, I keep looking at this. It's a $45 billion market cap, no PE, no profit margin here. And if we look at the cash flow, Paul, look at this from last year, $97 million in free cash. You have this amount of money probably in your wallet at the moment, and you're definitely not worth $44 billion right now. It's just astounding.
That's funny when you look at it that
when
way.
we don't understand numbers, we don't understand what makes companies grow, then you have no idea what's going on here. And you just sit there and see a ticker symbol. Yeah, that's fine. By the way, go do it. But I don't want you to cry and complain later saying, the most common thing, I'm going to pick another group of people. The thing I hate the most in this world right now is every realtor I know brags about how well they're doing for their clients.
Yes.
And when they complain about 08 and 09, the economy killed me. Was the economy the one that was boosting you up beforehand? No, they were going to say it was them. So that's the issue. Same thing here. You can't sit here and complain later when a company that made no money and was selling for 37 times sales is all of a sudden worth a lot less. I'm sorry. You have no sympathy for you. If you're not willing to understand history, I have zero sympathy for you. Is that mean? Then I'm mean. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, this is just reality. This is 150 years of stock market history. This is every great investor of all time would say the exact same things. And if you want to ignore that, more power to you. You could be onto something completely new. More power to you. But it's not reality, unfortunately. So for me, it's not reality. So if you sit there and complain about this, there's a lot of people out there on YouTube and in the markets who will end up being gone at some point in the next 10 years because they would have put all their eggs in these baskets and they don't work. Okay, fine. Am I boring? Sure, I'm boring. But I'll be around for a long time, doing this for a long time. And some people would say I'm too conservative. Fine by me. In the real estate world, I think I'm too conservative. I don't know. I mean, maybe I am, but at the same point, boy, I'd rather be conservative and hit my doubles and triples than be fly by night, hit a grand slam, strike out 8 more times, hit another grand slam, strike out 9 more. I just don't believe in that.
We see this transformation with our patrons. They come to us saying that they listen to some of these yahoos following these overhyped companies. This is a lot, Paul. A lot of messages you and I get. They're in our messages, Tim. We see it all the time. Is I lost my ass on some YouTuber telling me to buy some crazy ass stock, and I finally found you guys. So if you found our channel amongst the chaos, we're glad to have you. We will not be a huge channel with millions and millions and millions. This will not speak to a lot of people because they just can't fathom the idea of buying boring stocks that progressively
and
make
there
you
will
money
be
over
a big crash. And when that crash happens, it's going to wipe out a lot of hype stocks, a lot of the stuff, and it's going to unfortunately wipe out a lot of people. That's just the way it is, and that's the way it has to go. Mm-hmm. Because that's the only way we become better as a country is when we have lessons learned. Just like us individually, you did better when you lost your job.
Yep.
Right? I did better when I had my first real estate deal do poorly. I was able to find other deals around it and make the whole thing profitable and haven't lost money on any deal since.
What about when Mo got burned for 27 G's on that one trade, Mo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in like 12 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That'll teach you something.
Learn to put in stops.
If this speaks to you, if you're watching other videos and wondering why all these companies are trying to push on you, penny stocks and this ridiculousness, pre-revenue companies with forward PEs, if you're ever wondering why, you're welcome to join our channel and see how we come up with these numbers, how we come up with what we're paying for stocks. And it might make some sense to you. If it does, we'd love to have you. That's our show. Love you, Paul. Mo, love you. You sexy beast, you. Fondle the thumbs up on the way out. And where the haters, come join us. Hello.
Bye.